Netflix. I'm a New York bestseller on parenting. Clearly,
Right.
right,
Well, you've
right.
helped raise kids, so don't even. You're in there. You're in it.
Oh yeah, but still,
Yeah.
because there's going to be like one person I'll go, well, you didn't really have children, and it's
No.
like, no, but you know what? I've known people that have had them, and I've seen what's happened with them. I'm just saying.
Now, I'm going to say this off air because if I say it on air, I'm going to get my ass.
We're on air right now, by the way.
Oh, we are. Well, then I'm not going to say it because I don't feel like getting myself in trouble. Hi, audience. Sorry we were gone for so long. Hello.
Well, holidays, switching of shifts, it happens.
Parents visiting, details. It's been it's been a long couple weeks. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, life. Gosh darn it.
And
life should come with more free booze.
Woohoo, free booze. Okay, so we know a lot of things have happened. Politically, we've had some presidential candidates come out, say they're going to run, blah, 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 both on actually, there's really only been one on the Democratic side. We've had like 3 or 4 on the Republican side, which is kind of cool. We're so not even going to talk about that tonight. Sorry. We might wait till there's more people in the hunt because that might be more fun. Tonight is all about parenting, sort of, and children, and bratty children, and free-range children, and people who should never have children, and people who wrap themselves up so much in their children that they let their husbands fall to the wayside. Yeah.
Yeah. Basically, we're going to talk about what's wrong with America, and it all begins in the home.
It really does. It really, really does.
There's no way around it. I mean, when you look back at the 1940s and 50s, I know a lot of people are sitting there going, oh, you gotta quit going back there. But here's the simple truth. Every night, the family sat at the dining room table. And it wasn't just for like 5 minutes where everybody sat down, quick, ate, and left. No, you sat down, you ate slowly because that helps the digestive system so you can be healthy. But they also talked and communicated and got to know each other. Somewhere, I'm going to start saying, I don't know when it started, really, but you can start seeing the breakdown through the years where I'm amazed how little people even cook nowadays, let alone have a family meal even once a week.
Well, yeah, I have to say I'm a little bit guilty of that myself with my kids. And I can tell you one of the main reasons that happens is activities. There's this competition of sorts between parents of, oh, well, my child is in this and my child is in that. And, oh, little Johnny is doing this and little Mabel is doing that. No. I am guilty of it. My kids are in activities, but each one of them basically has one activity that they're in that they really throw themselves all into. So my son is in lacrosse, my older daughter is in gymnastics, and my younger daughter is in choir. Outside of that, some of them have some after-school activities that they partake in. My older daughter is in student council. My younger daughter is in a Harry Potter club currently. She does every club she can. It's ridiculous. And my son is in leadership. So they each, I guess, kind of have 2 things that they do, but half of them don't interfere with life. They happen during school time or shortly after school. The rest of them are in the evenings and whatnot. So our schedule is thus. Monday nights are free except my husband's not home. Tuesday nights is lacrosse. Wednesday nights we're free, but husband isn't home for every other Wednesday. And lately he's been working overtime, so he hasn't been home any Wednesday. Thursday is lacrosse again. Sometimes Wednesday is lacrosse too. So Thursday is lacrosse. Friday is gymnastics. Oh, I'm sorry. Thursday is also choir. Because double booking is smart. Friday is gymnastics, Saturday is lacrosse, Sunday is church, and guess what? We're back to Monday. Woohoo! So in all that time, it's very difficult to get us to sit around the table and do that. But we find other ways to do that. We bond in the car when we're carpooling. We do, we have conversations that you would normally have around the dining room table. We have them elsewhere. But that whole notion of activities, I think, started maybe 20 years ago. It started before I had kids, where it was this: if you're not running everywhere, you're a terrible parent. Which kind of brings me to the first article that I'd like to talk about, which is this one blog post that a woman wrote that basically said, "What would my mom do?" And the subtitle of it is, "Drink tab and lock us outside." Yes! That's what you should do. Kids don't need necessarily structured activities. They just need their imaginations and go play. I remember just going and playing. My mom was like, Get out. Come back when you're hungry.
Pretty much.
That's what happened. Why can't we do that now?
Exactly. When I was a kid, it was really great because the housing development, suburbia thing that I grew up in, all started being built around the same, was being built when I was young. So everybody moving in was a young family with children. So I grew up with a whole bunch of people my age. So Friday after school, after we got homework done, we were allowed to go out and play until it was supper time. Mm-hmm. And then depending on, afterwards we could go out and play a little bit more. Sometimes no, depending on weather and other things. But Saturdays, oh my goodness, you woke up, you had your breakfast, you had your Sunday morning cartoons, and then you just went outside for like ever, and you came in to have like a quick sandwich for like lunch and like some Kool-Aid, and then you went right back outside again. Mm-hmm. The only time you really watched TV as a kid was Sunday morning cartoons, and maybe, you watched something at night with your parents before you went to bed.
Yeah, we watched.
And video games. Not a lot of people played back then. I mean, they did, but not to the length that they do now. Yeah, like Atari was great, don't get me wrong. But no one really, not a lot of people. No. There wasn't that gaming aspect back then. So you went out, you made memories with other people. You weren't plugged into an electronic device constantly like we are now.
No. And, it's funny. I was thinking about it. I don't think my mother really knew where I was from the age of 8 to 16. I'm pretty sure she had no clue whose friend which friend's house I was at. I would get on my bike and I'd be gone.
Right.
Like, for all she knew, I was bicycling to Chicago. We lived in Milwaukee, so I'm pretty sure
it was doable.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's 90 miles. Not that bad. So I look at my kids now, and it's so funny because I get strange looks by parents nowadays because I kick my kids out of the house. Like, go play, go find your friends, go play outside, go to the park. It's right around the corner. Go get your bikes, go. And I'm finding that I am in the minority in parenting lately because I don't keep tabs on my kids. I don't constantly know where they are. I mean, there are times where I'm looking at the clock going, 7:30. Anybody know where Megan is? No. All right. Well, I'll give her 15 more minutes. She knows where the food is. And sure enough, usually within those 15 minutes, she's bopping inside, head to toe in dirt, because she's a tomboy. I don't know where she's been. Usually at the park, but my kids all know stranger danger. They know to fall on the ground, scream danger, danger, 911. Nobody's taken my son. He's now taller than me. My son is taller than me.
I know, don't you just hate it when they outgrow you like that? And it's like, no, I had a conversation with one of my coworkers like yesterday, I think it was, and he says he wouldn't be able to let his children out of his sight because we're discussing that whole free range type parenting. I'm sitting there going, huh? And I told him I let my kids, walk. Like, okay, I don't really have kids. They're my niece and nephew, but I refer to them as that. I walked them to school, and I walked them home from school for like a week. And then I would only walk them to school after that. That was just to make sure they got there.
Mm-hmm.
But on the way home, because I knew my neighbors, that's the other great thing about letting people go outside. You get to meet the neighborhood. It's an amazing thing. But on the way home from school, I was able to point out houses and sit there going, this is where so-and-so lives. They know us. If you ever feel like you're in danger or whatever before you can get home, or you don't think you can get home in time, go to them, let them know, and they'll make sure you get home safely. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't like we lived like a far distance, but for little kids, I think it took them like maybe 10 minutes to walk home, which is a long time for a kid, 5 to 10 minutes. So it was more of like, this is where so-and-so lives. And because I knew so many people, because I grew up in this town, it was like almost every other house was somebody that we knew. Right. Go to this person, go to this person, and then we also met people walking back and forth, so we were able to figure out who was safe and who was stranger. And in the whole time that we did that, only once where they got scared once, but they were smart enough to know what to do. And they got themselves out of the situation. And they're now 19 and 20. And yeah, I think they survived.
You think?
I'm pretty sure they survived their childhood.
Yeah. Yeah, the free range parenting, this is the thing that's killing me. Okay, so I don't know how many of our viewers, probably almost all of them, because our viewers are smart. Like, really smart. There's a couple in Maryland who have 2 younger girls, 10 and 6, who they allow to be free-range kids. How do they allow them to be free-range kids? They are allowed to walk to a park that is, I think, 4 blocks away from their home.
4 whole blocks, the horror!
Mm-hmm. And allowed to play there by themselves. And they know what time to be home. They have watches. They know how to use them. They know what time. They know how long it takes them to get from the park to home, so they know when to leave the park to get home. And they're allowed to go do what they want to do during that time, 10 and 6. Well, a while back, somebody at the park realized that these 2 children didn't have any parental authority with them and called the police. The police then called CPS, who then made the parents sign some sort of ridiculous form that basically said that they would never let the kids out of their sight ever again, forever and ever, amen. Which is the dumbest thing to sign ever, but they signed it, which is probably going to end up being problematic for them now in light of new events. They allow their children to once again walk to the very same park in question. And another parent there, realized that the girls didn't have parents with them. And so then instead of calling the police, they actually called CPS. They skipped a step.
Okay, I just want to stop there. Now, what kind of person has CPS programmed into their phone, or feels like they have to search the interwebs on their smartphone to find CPS's number to call them?
I am going to guess a busybody parent that knew about these free-range kids and was ready to call as soon as they saw these kids alone in the park again because whatever. But CPS was called. Now here's where the story gets, where I'm just like spitting bullets because I'm just irritated with this. As a mother that has free range kids, I'm like, no. CPS confiscates the children. I know that's a weird way to say it, but that is exactly what they did. They took the kids. They never called the parents. They never took the kids to the parents' house. They just took the kids.
I call that more kidnapping than confiscating, but semantics.
Kidnapping. I'm trying to be nice. So the mother, at 6 o'clock, when the girls are supposed to be home, starts to get concerned because the girls aren't home at the time that they're supposed to be there. So at 6 o'clock on the nose, when the girls are supposed to be home, that is when they start making phone calls and going and looking for the girls. At 8 o'clock at night is when they are told that the girls are in custody with CPS. Okay. So
yeah, take a breath, take a cleansing breath, because I know how I feel and I don't have children.
So you take my children for 2 hours, longer than 2 hours, actually. They had them much longer than 2 hours. You never, ever contact me to let me know that A, you have my children, and B, that they are safe. And you let me panic for 2 hours out of my mind because I have no idea where my children are. I just don't even understand. And now CPS is saying that they might not get the children back because they had signed that form saying that the children would never be left out of their sight. They would not be unsupervised. But here's the great thing. These parents aren't backing down. God bless them. Last I heard, they are suing CPS for kidnapping their children.
Good. Because, you know, there's so many things wrong with this. Number one, government has clearly stepped over the line. Way over the line. Like, they not only stepped a mile over the line, they took a Ferrari, drove 50 miles to the post office, mailed themselves down to SpaceX, hopped on a SpaceX shuttle, got shot up in space, and now are leaving the Milky Way.
Yeah.
That's how far over the line government has gotten with this free range parenting, and you know, kids can't be out of their, you know, parents' sight for like more than 5 minutes, and they can't be more than a couple blocks away without the parents knowing. Stop. Because here's the thing. If the kids can't get away from their parents right now, they're never going to learn independence. And I know that's what the government wants, because they want everybody to be underneath the government control. That's not what is intended in the world.
No.
It's going against the laws of nature. And it's not right.
I want my
It's going to make me have an aneurysm.
Don't do that. I want my children to be independent. The only way that I can get them to be independent at this age is to let them be independent at this age. So they're allowed to make decisions. They're allowed to decide, am I going to go outside? Am I going to stay inside? Am I going to play with his friend? Am I going to go here? Am I going to take my bike? Am I going to walk? What am I going to do? What sort of activities would I like to do? What game would I like to play? My kids are allowed to make decisions. There's a way of raising kids called Love and Logic, which is just beautiful. It just segues right into allowing them to be independent people, because what it does is it allows kids to suffer the consequences of their decisions. As soon as a child can decide whether they want juice or milk, they're ready for Love and Logic. And what Love and Logic does is the parents give the children choices. You can clean your room now, or you can clean it tomorrow. Kid has a choice. Either way, the room's getting clean, but is it getting clean now, or is it getting clean tomorrow? But the kids are allowed to make that decision. And you up the ante as they get older. Obviously, you give them more reign. But the key element is the parent has to be okay with whatever decision the child is going to make. So you have to make sure you give them options that you're okay with them accepting. This is the ultimate love and logic. I'm going to let you go play. You need to be back by 6 o'clock. Can you do that? And the level of trust between these parents and these kids is historic. It's amazing. The fact that right at 6 o'clock, the mother was like, oh, nope, something's wrong. And she went looking for him, tells me that these kids come in on the dot or early of the time that they're supposed to be there, which means that they're extremely responsible young ladies. The 10-year-old is responsible for the 6-year-old. That makes sense to me. I've got kids of varying ages. Oftentimes, my son is in charge of the little girls. Now, the age differences are a little, the ages right now are different than those, but there were times when Andrew was 11 where he was in charge of his baby sisters, and I was okay with it.
Yeah.
What?
Because that's how it's supposed to be.
Yeah. Why is the government involved in this at all? These kids were not in danger. They were in a Maryland neighborhood park. I've been to Maryland.
Outside of Baltimore, I hear it's great.
It's like suburbia throughout the entire state. Are you kidding me? And statistically speaking, kidnappings are no more prevalent now than they were back in the day. It's just that now we have a 24/7 news cycle that picks up on these things because there's nothing else going on. So now we have Amber Alerts, now we have this and that. And so we know about these things more often than we did way back when. But that doesn't mean that they happen more often. It just means we're more aware of them now.
Oh, exactly. I have read a story sometime this week, because time, about two brothers that were preteen, like almost the same age as the girls, that left Oklahoma on horseback, no parents with them, and just traveled to like Pennsylvania or something. Like they just decided they were just going to go because they went to New York to meet Roosevelt. They wanted to meet Theodore Roosevelt. So They packed up their horses, brought along some food, and went. If you did that nowadays, they would have been stopped before they even left the town.
There'd be an Amber Alert out, and it would just be chaos. It would be chaos.
And the parents would be thrown in jail for child neglect.
Whatever, some trumped up charge, whatnot. It's
madhouse.
It's teaching children not to be independent.
No, it's not. Like I said, it's kind of what the government wants. They want you to be fully rely on them. It's to me. I know there's probably some people that aren't religious that watch the show. I am.
Me too.
In Christianity, the basic tenet is that you fully rely on God for everything. You rely on Him to make sure that you have food in your belly when you don't have money to buy food, and same thing with clothing and same thing for shelter, because we believe if He's going to take care of the animals on the earth, He would do more so for the humans because we're made in His image.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a fundamental thing that Christians believe. So that's where we put our faith. What government wants is to remove the faith from God. Not, you don't need to rely on God because He really doesn't exist. You need to fully rely on government.
Mm-hmm.
You need us for everything. Don't worry. You don't have a house? That's okay. We got some Section 8 housing over here. We'll take care of it. You don't got food coming? It's okay. We got food stamps. You don't got that's okay. We'll take care of it for you. So nobody has to do anything anymore, except for the people that actually do go out and do something because somebody has to pay for it.
Right.
I mean,
well, that whole relying on God thing, I actually the last few weeks have been walloped with that whole rely on God thing. Apparently, I needed to be tested in my faith in the last month. And it was monetary in nature. But I will tell you that as desperate as things got, there was always something that God provided for me. There was always money of some sort, even $5. It didn't matter. There was something somewhere. I got a break somewhere or got money from something that sustained us to get to the next paycheck, to get, to where we, and now with this paycheck, I'm way above water. I know exactly what I'm doing. I've got more than enough money to cover everything that I need to do. And so I've been rewarded with, I don't know how to say this. I've been rewarded now for my faithfulness in the time that I should have just been breaking down.
Right.
And we need to get back to that. I'm sorry, everybody needs to get back to that. How freeing would that be to know that you're going to be taken care of? These kids, these free range kids, they were taken care of. Their parents took care of them. And they were fine. Nothing happened to them. The worst thing that happened to them because of CPS.
Exactly. I couldn't imagine being that 6-year-old. The 10-year-old probably had more of cognitive thought of what was going on. But could you imagine being that 6-year-old? Being picked up by people you don't know it at the park, and you've been told about the whole stranger danger thing, and then you're held, and your parents don't know where you are, and you haven't been able to call your parents. The kids are going to need therapy now. I mean, because of CPS.
Well, and then
I was sued just for that fact.
Yeah, and then what they're learning is, oh my God, if my parents aren't with me, somebody's going to come snatch me. The government's going to come snatch me.
Right.
What? How is that helpful to anybody? I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't understand. But here's the deal. Okay, so I'm going to segue into another article that we had to talk about here because this is just, I don't know, go with me on the journey. So this 10 and 6-year-old are probably going to be raised to be extremely independent and very grateful for their parents and love their parents so very much because they're allowed to be independent people. I would like to contrast that with a 12-year-old who had her iPhone taken away from her. Okay, now, first of all, the sheer fact that a 12-year-old has an iPhone is just mind-boggling, but whatever.
Yeah.
So the 12-year-old has their iPhone taken away from them. It's a girl, by the way. And apparently this disturbs her on such a fundamental level that she takes it upon herself to try to kill her mother with bleach.
Yeah, because that totes makes sense to me.
I'm trying to figure out, how do you make that leap? Oh, my iPhone got taken away I think she took it away for like a week, too.
Yeah, it wasn't even that long.
Here, you talk, because otherwise I'm going to look like an albino.
Okay. Sure, because I'll just give you my opinion. At 12, if you do get a phone or whatever, it should be one of those really cheap 99-cent flip phones that are like, you have like no real, technology on it. You got to do the old way of texting on it, because you're 12. You don't need the fancy stuff yet. You really have nothing going on in your life that's that important. I tell that to all the teenagers I see with the fancy phones. You don't need it. I'm in my 30s. I have a smartphone. I know what I use it for. I use it to find out what's going on in the news when I'm at work. And that's pretty much it. And I use it for when I go to conferences because I can't always be on the computer. And sometimes I need to figure out what's going on real quick or to get on the app to find out, oh, I have to be at this panel or this meeting or whatever. stuff like that.
Yep.
You're 12. What do you need it for? You
Now-
have no job. Your whole social life is school. When I was 12, our way of communicating were those awesome notes that everybody learned how to fold really cool like.
Before texting.
Before texting, and the really good ones at the bottom usually had DAR written on the bottom, which meant destroy after reading, which was the original Snapchat. You read it, and quickly, if you were older, you had a lighter and lit it on fire. If you went outside, or you just ripped it to shreds.
Yep.
Ta-da!
Now, I will say, my 14-year-old does have a smartphone. He's had a smartphone for a couple of years. The reason he has a smartphone is he needed a device to use in school to be able to do some of his homework, because they get online at school and they go through websites at school, and he needed something to be able to do that. Since he already had a phone, it only made sense for me to upgrade that to a smartphone rather than spend $400 on a computer. I spent $100 to upgrade to a smartphone because smart. Now, if he did not need a device for school, he would still have a dorky old slide phone that he can only text from. As it is, he can use his phone when he's attached to Wi-Fi. I do not allow him just on his own, wherever the hell he is, to be able to be online for two reasons. One is, if he's on Wi-Fi, that means he's at home or at school, generally speaking. Uh-oh.
Huh.
Sorry.
I saw your face go white.
Yeah, hold on. Sorry, technical difficulties. For some reason, it was telling me I had an unresponsive script for our Google Hangout here, and then it was like, whoa. Anyway. But
I blame net neutrality. Gosh darn it.
I think net neutrality is starting to bite us in the ass. Sorry. Bite us in the butt. Anyway. But my son, if he's connected to the Wi-Fi, I'm with him, or he's at school. It's very rare that he has his phone and he's connected to Wi-Fi where I'm not with him. So I can kind of monitor what he's doing on his phone. 9 times out of 10, he's going to some sort of joke website. He does like the Chive, I will say that, but I'm okay with that because, well, it's funny. But he's not going to any pornography websites. He's not going to any... I don't think he knows how to get to anything like that, honestly. Even as prevalent as it is on the internet, I don't think he even knows. So I don't mind him having a smartphone. But this girl's 12 years old. I'm wondering why she has an iPhone, first of all. Why she had it taken away. And then what makes you present your mother with a smoothie that you made with bleach? Okay, first of all, yeah, no, go, because I'm gonna lose it.
My first thought when I read this is, how the heck does that escalate? Because here's the thing: never in my life have I ever thought about killing my mom. My mom took stuff away from me, but it was for a good reason. Never once did I sit and go, "I'm gonna make my mom drink bleach. I'm gonna kill her."
Right?
That is a very psychopathic way of thinking. Yes, I am calling this little 12-year-old a psychopath. Why? Because she is one. She clearly needs to be locked up for public health, public good. Because if she's willing to kill her mom, what's she going to do to people she don't like?
Well,
you know what I mean?
And kill her mom over something so trivial. Like, this is what I don't understand. Like, I could understand wanting to kill her mom because her mom allowed the stepdad to rape her.
Yeah,
I can
that. But for taking away basically a toy,
it's ridiculousness. Now, I like my social media just as much as the next person, but honest to God, if all of a sudden I couldn't use it, that'd be all right. I have phone numbers for the important people in my life, so it's all good. But
Exactly.
the entitlement displayed in this whole story is so over the top. I can't. I'm gonna go basic white girl on you and just say I can't even.
Yeah, I know. I'm right with you because a lot of the things I've been reading lately, there are times they're going, "Oh, I weep," you know. I don't know if you saw my thing that I posted from the Chive yesterday about Facebook's Facebook and criminals go together like OJ and toothpaste.
It was brilliant.
Okay, people, seriously, go look at that and tell yourself you're going to weep for the future.
Yep.
Of the earth, because though a lot of them are from the U.S., there are some from like the UK and other countries, because they're that dumb. Dumb, because no one has given them consequences yet in their life. Like I knew when I was little, if I did something dumb, my mom would give me a firm swat on the butt until I got older and there was other consequences that made it hurt, that hurt me in a different way. Like I couldn't go to like a homecoming dance because I did something, because I got a detention that week.
Nah.
So here I was ready to go to the homecoming dance. Nope, you can't. Socialization. Nope, right. You can't. You screwed up. That's your consequence.
Well, but it's training for the real world, because if you're on the job and you do something stupid, you lose pay.
yes, you do. Because I'm here to tell you, the place I work has rules. One of the rules is thou shalt not show up late. Not even 1 minute. Not even 30 seconds. When you do, that's a violation of a shop rule. Now, if you do that enough times, it escalates to where you can lose up to 30 days without pay. And if you go one more of that after 30 days, you just lose your job. So I've lost some pay over the last year. And I tell you, it really sucks.
It sucks.
But it taught me to get off first shift where I can't wake up at 5 a.m. and go to thirds where I'm up and you make it to work by 11 p.m. So, hey.
There you go. Insomniacs need to know their limits. They need to know. It's best to have a night job. Day jobs don't work for insomniacs. Come on now.
I know, but I was trying so hard. I wanted to be normal for a while. I just wanted to know what it was like. I wanted to know what it was like to be a normal human being, and I found out it just doesn't work for me.
It doesn't work.
I failed miserably. I'm now back amongst the night people, and I'm happy.
But you'll thrive now. You'll thrive. It'll all be good now. Just don't ever try to go against what your natural tendencies are, and you'll be fine. You'll be fine. But yes, I believe in consequences for behavior. And
oh yeah, you need it.
This little 12-year-old girl isn't going to get the consequence for the behavior because she's 12. And that's the thing that kills me about this, is she's going to get a virtual slap on the wrist for trying to poison her mother because she's 12.
I don't know if I was the mom, I'm not sure I would allow the 12-year-old back in my house, because now the trust is just broken. How am I going to know that I'm not going to wake up with her, with a knife over my head trying to kill me?
Surely won't be accepting any more smoothies from her. That's for damn sure.
Oh, exactly.
You like?
Oh my goodness, the trust is completely gone.
No. But okay, so I would like to, because we only have like 15 minutes here. I have to address this last article. I have to.
Yes, it needs to be addressed, because it's one of those things that's what's going wrong with America.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am married.
No!
I am.
Get out of town!
It's true! I tell you! And more than that, my husband is the most important person on this planet to me.
What? Is that possible? I mean, you have 3 kids, allegedly.
Okay, so, but here's the deal. I chose my husband and married him long before any of those children ever existed. And long after those children are gone from our protection, my husband is still going to be with me. So, yes, he is the most important person on this planet to me. Maybe not to everybody else, and that's fine. I don't care. Whatever. He's mine. I found him. I get to keep him. But there's this woman. So, oh my gosh, I can't. Oh my gosh, I have such a hard time with this. So she wrote a blog post in Good Housekeeping of all places, declaring that she is 99% mother and 1% wife.
That seems kind of out of balance for me.
I had an aneurysm with just the title. And then I read it. So she starts.
How many bottles of wine did it take you to get through it?
I read it quickly. It was like a Band-Aid, rip it off. So she starts this off by talking about how her dog was just so important to her. She didn't even talk about her husband to start with. She talks about her dog. And then her dog was so important. She would buy little outfits for her dog and blah, blah, blah. The dog was just so blah, 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 blah. Whatever, okay. But she's married at this point. Married and talking about the stupid dog. And she makes this, I don't know, assertion that her friends told her, oh, well, wait till you have kids and the dog won't be as important, blah, blah, blah. Oh, no, that can't be. Then she has kids and she gives the dog away to her mom because she knows that her mom will take good care of the dog because the dog is just ridiculously spoiled. So now she has kids. So she's married this man, agreed to spend her life with him, apparently loves him, I guess, but talks more about the dog and her children during this article. I'm sorry, I'm going to go albino because I have to pull this up because there's just quotes in here that are ridiculous. I put John last pretty much all the time. And it's not like he's a bad guy, far from it. He does the laundry, grocery shopping, cooking, makes the kids lunches, even braids my daughter's hair. He often compliments me and regularly asks if we can go away alone for a weekend or at least out to lunch. I tell him I have no time for leisurely lunches, let alone 2 entire days away. I can't be bothered to figure out who's going to take care of our kids, pack, unpack, and scramble, getting ready for Monday morning. This woman is vile.
Her poor husband. Why doesn't he just leave her? I understand staying in a marriage for children, but that has to be doing something to his psyche.
Well, no, wait. It gets worse. She writes in here, I've spoken this sentence to John. Quote, let me be clear. If I have to choose between you or one of the kids, you will lose every time. Do you have a problem with that? Unquote.
Wow. Again, the husband needs to run and should probably take the kids with him. Because they're not going to learn anything about being a good adult by staying with this mother. She's completely out of balance. She's completely out of whack in more ways than one. Here's the thing. Now, my niece just had a baby last week. Cutest little thing ever. First, she had Monday night last week. So he's not quite 2 weeks old yet. Last week, Saturday, was the first time that she left the house. Her husband told her that she needed to find somebody to stay with the baby so she could get out of the house, because he knew that she needed a break from baby. Because yeah, she loves him, and she just gave birth to him, and they've been together. They have like a symbiotic relationship for 9 months. It's kind of hard to separate, but he knew she needed to have that break, even though it was only like for about an hour or two. She needed the break, and it was just to go computer shopping. That was it. It wasn't like a fancy date night. It wasn't to go watch a movie. It was just to get out.
Well,
and
okay. So my son was born in October in 2000, long time ago. Anyway, in November, you know what? I honestly don't even think of that it was that long. I think it was within a couple of weeks of him being born. I left him with my mother-in-law, and my husband and I went to see Beauty and the Beast on stage with a whole bunch of my Disney Store cast members. And it was brilliant. It was the best thing I could have done for myself, because one, it gave me a date night with my husband, which is rare. Two, it allowed me to be an adult by going to a stage show. And the egocentric side of it, number three, was I lost my baby weight with my son like that. And it was fantastic to go out and have all my friends that had seen me like super uber pregnant be like, oh my goodness, you look amazing. That was fantastic. Plus, I got to see Beauty and the Beast, which, if
you love.
Okay, so I just got a massive tattoo on my leg of Beauty and the Beast, so I kind of like it. But
so yeah, you're only mildly obsessed with it.
Just a little.
Just a little.
It was brilliant. It was the best thing I could have done. It didn't mean I didn't love my son.
No.
It meant that I needed that connection with my husband, and I needed to feel something other than being a mother. I love being a mom. I love my children. I would do anything for them. I really, really would. They are my heart and my soul, and I can't imagine my life without them. And that's saying a lot for a woman who never wanted kids. True story. But my husband is the reason that I have the children. He's the reason that I have the life that I have. He is our leader in our household. He is the leader in my life, and he will be there forever. My children will leave. They will go. They will have their own families. They will go to new places. They will have new careers. They will experience the world in their own way, and I want that for them. But I don't
Which every parent should.
Right. And I don't expect them to be there for me every step of the way. I don't want them to be. That's my husband's job. That's what he signed on for when he asked me to marry him, was to carry me and to be with me and to love me and cherish me till the end of time. And even beyond that, because we're both believers. And so, when we leave this earth, we're going to heaven, and we're going to have an amazing, wonderful time up in heaven, like partying, woo, what. But our children, our job is to raise them to be independent and productive members of society. We're doing that. And when our job is done, meaning when they're about 18, 20, then we get to have our time together again. This woman has, you know, she says she's 99% mom, 1% wife. That's wrong.
Honky.
She is 100% mother, and her husband is simply the sperm donor in her
Pretty
mind.
much. Yeah. She's
And-
totally lost all sense of herself and along with it. Because you can't just, number one, never put yourself in percentages like that. It won't work. But to only identify yourself as a mom does you a great disservice. You're supposed to be more than just one thing.
Yeah, I'm a
She's
mom.
doing herself a disservice.
I'm a mom. I'm also a wife. I'm also a friend. I'm also a daughter. I'm also a sister. I'm also an acquaintance. I'm a volunteer. I'm a Christian. I'm lots of things. But I wouldn't dare put a percentage on any of those. I actually define myself as being 100% of all of those because I throw myself into those completely. Now, do I sometimes fail at being a wife? Yeah. Do I fail at being a mom? All the time. Do I fail at being a friend? 100%. Ask my friends. Do you need to hunt me down? Yup, probably. But does that mean that I'm not thinking about you? Does that mean that I'm not praying for you? Does that mean that I'm not concerned about you? Does that mean that I'm not trolling your Facebook page to see what's going on in your life? No, I'm doing all those things. It's just that sometimes I don't have time to pick up the phone. I don't have time to send a text. I don't have time to do anything. So when I like something on your Facebook page, when I send you a tweet, when I add you on to something, that's me telling you I love you and I'm thinking about you. And I think if you're my friend, you know that about me. So, you know, there's that. But this woman, this freaking woman shouldn't even be married. She should have just gone to a sperm bank, had kids, and been done with it. I'm so hateful towards her, and I know that's so wrong, but I'm so mad at her because she even ends the article with, and I hope when all that's done, my husband asks me out to have lunch because I really, really want to. No, you don't. You need to say yes now. My husband and I, we have date nights. Why? Because we need to have them. We need to have that connection. We need to reestablish. If we're in the kitchen and we have a moment where we're hugging each other or giving each other a kiss and the kids are like, wah, 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 we have literally kicked our children to the side and told them, no, this is mommy daddy time. You need to wait. And what that is teaching my children is that relationship is more important than any other relationship aside from you and God.
Right.
But your earthly relationships, the most important one needs to be with your spouse. You need to be connected to them.
Oddly enough, that's just what my pastor was talking about this past week at church. Which I just kind of ignored because I'm single and I'm sitting here going, yeah, I don't have that one person in that inner circle. He was going through like the circles. Huh?
But
why am I single?
It's important for you to listen to those messages because when you do find that person, and you will, because hello, you're you need that, like, duh. So when you do, it's important to hear those messages and to know, but I know you, and I know that you're solid in knowing that. You're not stupid. You've got it figured out. This woman, the mere fact that she started the article off talking about her dog
that says everything about her. I love my Chihuahua. Okay. Yeah.
There are words that I would like to use to describe her, which are inappropriate.
Which one of them is used to describe the female parts of dogs? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I just, no, I'm done with that woman. I'm done. Okay. I know we're almost out of time. So I'm going to wrap my side up with my one more thing. Here's my one more thing. Can we as a society please stop trying to make marriages fail? Can we please just stop talking about the things that make marriages fail? And can we start having a conversation about what makes marriages work? And I just, it makes me sad that we want to focus on the bad part of marriage and we don't want to talk about the good parts of it. The good parts of it are you have a best friend for life. You have a partner in crime. You have a confidant. And you have an empowerer. You have somebody who's going to hold you up and who's going to constantly be there for you and fight for you and with you at your side. Can we talk about that? Because I think if we put marriage in that context, more people would want to be married and stay married. That's my one more thing.
So where can they contact you then? If they want to dispute anything that you've said.
In-depth girlism. Oh, other way. I'm in reverse mode here. I'm in mirror mode, so bear with me. In-depth girlism on Twitter. I'm not on there a lot. I go in fits and starts. But if you tweet at me, I will answer you in some form or fashion. You can also find me on Facebook if you actually know my real name. And you can find my articles on elementary politics. And you can also find me on IJ Review. But again, only if you know my real name.
My one last thing has to do with the parenting thing. Years ago, I remember my pastor back then asked a question to the church, and he says, "What does an apple tree produce?" And I grew up in farming country. We have a lot of orchards, and a lot of people are like, "Well, they produce apples." And then one person's like, "No, it produces other apple trees." And that's how we have to start looking at the children, not as the apples, but what's inside are the seeds to create more apple trees. So that's my one last thing, because I want to be philosophy, go that whole route, being smart. If you would like to dispute anything that I have said, or want to sit there and go, "You're awesome, Sauce," you can find me at Beautifly Wing on the Twitters. If you would like to make a comment on a show, you can go to our Facebook page, May Dames, and leave a comment there. Yep. I think that's pretty much it. So until next time, bye.